So, hi everyone. My name is Marco. I'm from Lisbon, Portugal. I'm the Clash of Clans community manager, and I've been in this position for like over 6 months. But before that, I was working in Clash, but then as external. I started back as a local Clash of Clans community manager, like around 7 years ago. Then I was after that, I became in esports Clash of Clans community manager. So I was, around when we did the first World Championship in Clash back in Hamburg in 2019, and all of the other World Championship events. So you might know me from there, and we might have talked in person in those events. And now I just joined the team 6 months ago, and now you see me doing crazy stuff with Ferry in the dev videos. Nice to meet you all.
Okay, my intro won't be that long. I'm Ferry. I'm a manager for Clash of Clans as well. And I'm originally from Brazil. I live in other places before, Canada, Ireland, Finland. So and I hope you all enjoy the silly things we do out there, social media.
Cool. Welcome in. I think Seth still has connection issues.
No.
Is Seth in the same building as you guys? Maybe he might be able to tag along.
He's working from home today.
Okay.
He's not,
Well, we can maybe get started.
Drag him in from the audience.
Yes. He needs to request. Request, please.
Oh. Hello, Seth. Oh,
Yes.
There he is.
Can you hear me?
There we go. Yes,
Yes.
we can.
All right. I had to turn off Zoom. Zoom was hogging all the microphones and all the cameras.
Oh, classic Zoom, hey. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm Seth. I'm a game designer at Supercell. I've been at Supercell almost 7 years now, and I've worked on 4 different Clash games. So I initially started on Clash Royale, then I worked on Clash of Clans during the Clan Capital update, moved on to Clash Quest, rest in peace, and later helped do some balancing on Clash Mini, and then also helped build the creator program that a lot of our YouTubers use. And now I'm back on Clash of Clans, and this is the first kind of major feature I've worked on since rejoining the team. So excited to be here with all of you and talk about it, answer your questions. We got a whole bunch collected from Discord already, and looking forward to talking about it.
Really excited, and you've got quite the portfolio behind your name there. Very impressive. All right, let's get going. So again, guys, this is a podcast based on game design, and we'll be asking Seth and the other Supercell guys some questions about game design, and we've also handpicked some of the questions that were sent in this channel before we got started with the podcast. So we will be going through those at the end. But Kart, would you like to take it away with the first topic?
Yep. Okay. So the first entire topic is about the big thing that just came, training time changes. Now our first question is, what was the reason for removing training times?
I mean, don't you like it? Isn't it good?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So part of the reason is, of course, we're always talking about every update cycle, like how can we make Clash better? What's the big thing we can fix? And sometimes it's like big new ideas, right? Like new features. But a lot of times we're just talking about what in the game right now is causing people problems, what makes people want to quit, or what's like the worst experience you can have. And we kept coming back to some of these things, like sometimes you log in and you'd forgotten to train your army. So you come in, you're ready to do battles, and you can't, right? Like you just literally don't have an army trained. So you have to train, and then you have to wait another 30, 40 minutes, whatever, to get your army. Or sometimes, you have an hour to play a game, and you want to just sit down and play Clash of Clans for an hour, and you kind of can't. Like you do 2 battles, and then you're out of training time, and you can't. Especially as training times have gotten longer, even using training potions wasn't really doing the job. Like if you had, for example, like a dragon army, you could have a training potion active, do 2 battles, and then come out of that second battle and still have like 8 minutes left until your army's done. And so like even the tools the game was giving you to play an unlimited amount wasn't really working to like fix the issues of the game. We also started thinking about like our other games that we have, Clash Royale, Brawl Stars, these kind of things. These games let you play as much as you want. Like you can just play Brawl Stars all day if you want. A Clash of Clans streamer has to have like 30 accounts and shuffle between these accounts in order to play continuously for 2 hours. And that's like a big ask for a lot of people. And we don't really necessarily want you to have like 30 different villages. We want you to have like your one account that you like and care about and invest in. But the game itself was not letting you engage to that level. So yeah, like imagine if you were on the Brawl Stars team and you're like, guys, I have a great idea for Brawl Stars. What if after every battle you had to wait 15 minutes to battle again because your brawlers had to heal? Wouldn't that be better? It's crazy, right? It's like a nonsense thing to suggest. So it kept coming back to like, why do we even have training time? What is the point of this? Like, how is this making the game better for Clashers? And we just kind of came to the decision that it was worth removing it. Like it's something that we think is sort of an outdated old game mechanic from years ago. It's something that we just kept in the game because it's scary to change things in a successful game. But this was something that we felt like the upside was really there. There's going to be a lot of great outcomes of removing training time for most players, and the downsides are not that big of a deal. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to remove this training time. It also gave us a chance to go through the UI and do a bunch of quality of life features and fix a bunch of things. And we think it's going to make the experience like just way better for most players every single day. And so in a way that's more impactful than like a new tournament or something like that. Something that just improves every single session for every player every day. Good thing to do.
Okay, thank you. And why did this come now? What's different from before, say like 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
Well, we did have the same feeling 2-3 years ago, and what we ended up doing then was removing training costs. Like if you remember, training costs were removed in 2022, and that was a lot of the same discussion, right? Like, what is the point of training costs? If I spend 500,000 elixir to train an army, I kind of need to get 500,001 elixir back, or else I'm wasting it. And there's this situation where you could train armies, have a bad attack, loot less than you spent on the training, and that's like an I quit moment, right? That's like a feeling of like, what am I even doing in this game? This is tough. And progression is already so hard, and it takes so long to get through all the town halls that we were like, why are we making every single player gamble on their attacks, right? Like that you basically spent this amount and you'd have to win more than that to make it worth it. Wouldn't it just be better if every attack was free loot, was just like all upside? So we made that change 2 years ago, and it's been good. Like players like it. Nobody's really asking for training costs back. And so we still felt like there was friction in the game. It's obviously still a problem for people to have to wait for training time. And so, yeah, like this is basically a discussion that has been going on for years. And as we revisited it this time in 2025, it felt like, what's the next thing we can get rid of? And that's the training time.
Okay, thank you. And what do you hope to see as a result of this change? What kind of metrics are you looking at, or player engagement, especially with maybe newer players?
Yeah. So right now, the average number of battles per day is like 2. And it's because, well, you get about 2 battles in a session, right? Like a lot of people just play one time a day, you load up, you do your 2 attacks, you're done. Most Legend League players are not doing their 8 attacks per day, partially because in order to do 8 attacks, you have to have 4 separate sessions or a training potion or something to get them done. So what we're hoping to see is definitely an increase in battles per day. Partially because like, how to say this? Some people will do the exact same thing as before. Some people will just have a bunch of small sessions where they do 2 battles. But now, if you want to, you can actually sit down for an hour and just play a bunch. So I'll give you a great example of like where this is going to make life so much better. Let's say you're somebody who's gone on vacation for 2 weeks, and you come back and all your builders are ready to go. All the upgrades have been done, but you just came back. You haven't played for 2 weeks. It is really hard to get going again. Like it's really, really hard to build up the gold needed to start an upgrade and then do it again for a second builder, do it again for a third builder, but then the first builder's done and then it's just really hard to like get going once you get off the treadmill. One thing we're really hoping to see is that players who re-engage, who are like, I want to get back into Clash, they're not just stuck with playing for like 10 minutes and then they got to go away and come back an hour later. They can instead sit down for 30 minutes, 1 hour, battle, and get your builders going. Maybe you can get all 5 builders going in one session, and that is like a really good improvement for people who are coming back to the game. Streamers, we mentioned earlier, same deal. Like you'll be able to start a new account and play pretty much up to like Town Hall 7 in one stream. I mean, you know, you have to gem some timers or something like that along the way, but you can actually do like a play with me, let's go through the account, follow me, you know, creator journey, whereas right now you kind of really can't do that. You have to like edit together a bunch of footage from a bunch of different sessions in order to show that off. Yeah, so I think more battles per day would be great. It'd be awesome to see Legend League players hitting their 8 attacks more consistently, and of course it's easier to do that if you can just do like 4 battles at a time. We're also hoping to see people switch armies a lot more. So like, again, a great situation that comes up all the time. Fairies, like I found this cool army, shares it to clan chat. Okay, well, what can I do with that, right? I have to attack once, keep my training queues open, copy his thing, train it, do another battle with my original army, then I can use the army that Fairy has shared with me, like, you know, much later. This is going to speed that up. Now Fairy shares me that army, I save it to my recipes, I can load it immediately, I can do an attack with it right away. Like the gap between like, or the time it takes to try out a new strategy or to experiment a bit is just like, the barrier to that is so much lower once we turn this on compared to before.
Okay, interesting. And when you said that, like the average amount of attacks per day is 2, is that across all town halls? Does that include town hall 17s, town hall 16s, or is that like average across the town halls?
I don't have the data in front of me, so I can't like speak too specifically to it. Of course, it changes by town hall and things like that, but just like I think for new players, we'll see a lot more battles early on, just because whenever you install a new game, like if you just got some new game for your computer, you sit down and you want to play it for like 2 hours. You don't just like take a little taste and then go away. So I think for new players, you'll see significantly more battles, especially because the timers down there are like, you know, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. It's easier just to kind of keep battling and keep upgrading stuff and make it to Town Hall 3 or 4 in like one session if you were able to just continually attack. For higher level players, it kind of depends. Like I said, some people are, we don't know. Here, actually, maybe here's a better way to phrase it. We don't know how much Clash of Clans players want to attack because the game has limited you from attacking. It's actually the only like Supercell game that limits you from attacking. It's like us and Boom Beach, and that's it. So we don't really know how much Clash of Clans players are going to play because the entire game has stopped them the entire time. So what we're going to do is take all the barriers off, let you play as much as you want. We're going to rely on the builders. We're going to rely on the storage limits to cap you. You know, at some point your storages will be full, your builders are all busy, and then we can see what happens. Maybe that doesn't mean we need to make changes. Maybe after that occurs, we'll have to change the trophy counts or the donation costs or whatever to adjust. But like literally part of the reason we wanted to do this is we have no idea how much people want to play Clash of Clans, because Clash of Clans does not let you play as much as you want up until now.
Okay, interesting. And let's talk about snapshot bases a bit. So how will they work? Will they have like an average or a fixed amount of loot, or maybe max possible? And how did you arrive at these numbers?
Okay, so how it works is pretty simple. When you get a shield, we make a copy of that base. So it's not like Clan Wars. Like it is a literal copy of the base. If something's upgrading, it'll be upgraded in the picture we take and all that. It's not, like it will be exactly as the base was when you got your shield. That includes the loot, upgrades, all that kind of stuff. Those bases are put into the matchmaking pool, and if we're ever short on bases, then you get served a shadow base. So it's not something that happens every time. I'll give you a perfect example, actually. We were talking about this yesterday in the office that at like 1,300 trophies, there's a ton of bases. There's like a ton, because there's always new players in the game and stuff like that. At 1,300 trophies, there are like millions of available targets at any given time. And so nobody at that trophy count is going to see a shadow base because there's just constant bases around. You always have something to attack. But high Legend League, or maybe not, Legend League is already snapshots, but like say 4,500 trophies to like 4,999. Sometimes people get stuck in clouds because there's not enough targets, or sometimes we do these events where we cut the training time down and everyone's attacking a bit more, and then we run out of targets. So already, part of the reason why the troop training time, the Clash Anytime switch has not been flipped on yet is because we had to roll out the snapshot bases first, see how they work, make sure it's all going well, and build up a bunch of snapshots so that when we turn on Clash Anytime and everyone starts attacking more, we have bases to serve you. It's already on right now. So the Match Anytime feature is like the shadow bases are live right now. Some of you are getting shadow bases and attacking and stuff, and you just don't know because the game is obviously not telling you that it's a shadow base. Great news is that we're already seeing some really good results. We just talked about it today in our first review this morning that before 4% of searches, like 4% of the, when people hit like show me a battle, 4% of the time people were getting stuck in matchmaking queues over 5 seconds. So you're stuck in the clouds, 5 seconds, clouds. That was 4% of the time that people were searching for attacks. Just in the last 24 hours, we've got that down to like 0.003% or something like that. Like essentially everyone at every trophy range is getting bases now, and we're doing a really good job at like getting rid of the clouds and things like that. So yeah, like that's kind of how it works and the reason why we're doing it. We feel pretty confident in the shadow bases so far. There doesn't seem to be a lot of bugs. People are attacking it. They're getting the right amount of loot, trophies, all that kind of stuff. So that's why we were able to announce this morning that it'll go live tomorrow, because I think we're over the scary part, and now we're pretty confident that we can come in tomorrow morning and flip the switch on and have it ready for everybody.
Okay, interesting. And since these shadow bases are live, do the defenses show up in a defensive logs, or will we just see them after the Clash Anytime feature is live?
No. So right now, the game will not show you shadow defenses, but that's something we will add in the future. It's just, like anything, you have deadlines. You got to figure out what's the most important thing. So right now, you will not know if you're seeing a shadow base. It doesn't say like this is a shadow base or anything like that. Like you just do your attack like normal. The defender does not lose any loot, doesn't lose any trophies, and they don't see it in their attack log. However, we will add them to the attack logs in a future update. We're doing some more UI changes around stuff. So like, it's like part of a different feature that's getting worked on, but we will add them to your attack logs, and you'll be able to see like this was a shadow attack versus this is a real attack, and you'll be able to see the defenses and study your defenses and things like that.
Okay, cool. And will army links still work the same, or will the older ones get invalidated, or are they completely changing?
I saw that just before I got on the Discord. I actually don't know, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I don't know if old links will still work. I hope that they're backwards compatible. Like I think the new links are just longer, like just have more letters and stuff at the end. And I think those additional lines map to the hero equipments and the pets and things like that. But truthfully, I don't know. We'll find out almost immediately, right? As soon as the update goes live, just use an old army link off of Clash Ninja or something like that and see what happens.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, I will hand off to Aver to discuss the timer system.
Hello. Yeah, my first question is, will removing timers stop at attack armies, or is there a plan to bring these into other areas of the game, such as building? And if not, why? And if so, why? Yeah.
Can you repeat the question? I didn't quite get
Yeah, so will removing the timer, so for example, like the timer for the attack army training, will it stop just at the attack army, or will it carry on to other areas of the game, such as building? And I want to know why or why not.
Sure. Right now, I think just removing the attack time is the only thing we have planned on this. Like we're obviously constantly cutting builder times. Like every single update, we're sort of cutting the cost and timer of lower town halls. So that's kind of the main way that we're affecting the timers of building and things like that. And then attack timers are the main thing that we're getting rid of right now. Overall, like every update, we are talking about how to make this progress smoother. We want people to get through town halls. Like we don't want you to get stuck in town hall 11 and get bored and feel like everything's taken too long or whatever. So we are trying to slowly create this system where you're able to battle as much as you want, and that allows you to progress through the town halls pretty quickly at whatever pace feels comfortable for you. And so, yeah, like, but no, there's no current plans right now to remove like builder timers or anything like that. Although, again, we are reducing them with almost every update.
Yeah, cool. So I just want to clarify, why would you start with attack armies? What's different about attacking versus these other timers in the game?
Well, sure. So, okay, let's go to a world where there's no builder timers or whatever. There's literally just you do whatever you want. What we would have to do then is actually limit the amount of attacks you do per day. Like in Brawl Stars, for example, you can play as much as you want, but at some point we have to stop giving you chests because like if otherwise you could just get all the progression in the game in like 48 hours playing nonstop. So we don't want you to burn out. We want you to have limits. One thing that's really nice about Clash of Clans is that the limits are built into the game. Like having the builders be totally full and then you can't upgrade any more things. Having your storages be full and then you can't collect any more resources is actually a good thing. And that's what allows you to not burn out, and also us to allow you to play as much as you want, because the game has these natural limits. If we just said, okay, there's no builder timers anymore, like when do you stop? Like at what point is it like time for you to quit playing? And that can lead to burnout and just really long sessions that, it's not always the best for the player to allow that. So yeah, like basically our thought was, every other game allows you to play as much as you want. Why don't we let you play as much as you want too, and just limit you on sort of the rewards or the income or the ability to convert that loot into progress? And actually, just worth mentioning, one of the limits we put in, so we ended up not putting in any limits, right? We're going to let you play as much as you want and just go crazy, and we might have to put a limit on later. The one that was the absolute drop dead closest to getting in was a wall upgrade limit. Was like, because walls kind of go against what I was just saying. Like, you can play a bunch, you can dump all the elixir you earned into your walls, and then just keep attacking, keep upgrading walls, keep attacking. And like, little worried about that, but we decided not to over engineer it. We didn't want to put in like too many limits there, and it's really hard to say like what's the right amount of walls to upgrade per day. Like, what's the limit? Is it 50? Is it 100? What's even the number? And that limit would also probably be in effect during Hammer Jam, and of course some people upgrade all their walls during Hammer Jam, so we didn't want to like ruin what people were already doing. But like, just as an example, like that's something that we might limit in the future, is saying, okay, some people are playing too much, they're never stopping and they're burning out, and that's a problem. So maybe we need to put some limit on them converting their resources into progress.
Yeah, would that be similar to I know there were things in Clash Royale, for example, one of the games you previously worked on, where you would get chests for playing the game, but then after a certain amount of attacks, it would just stop giving you chests or gold. So you'd still be able to like gain trophies, for example, but you wouldn't be getting account progression for it. Is that sort of a similar kind of thing to what you're thinking of here?
Yeah, like if we had no builder times, then we would have to be in a world where you just quit getting rewards after a while. And we actually did talk about some systems like that. We did talk about an idea where like you could attack as much as you want, but every time you won a battle, the loot, like the possible loot from the next battle, would go down by 10%. So like I'm sorry, my cat's in the way. Get over here, kitty.
Cat reveal. Very
Yeah,
cute.
I know. Cat reveal. She's a little baby. Yeah, whenever I'm working from home, she's like pacing and looping around the computer. So it's you just have to get her in. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That's what we should do. We should make this podcast about cats now. Very cute.
Yeah, put her in the game, Fairy. You coward. Put her into attack. Well, actually, when we actually, here's a little behind the scenes thing, because people always want to hear a little behind the scenes stuff. When we were first doing hero pets, and this was 3-4 years ago, the original pitch was just dogs. It was literally going to be like hero dogs, and all the mock-ups were like all these different breeds of dogs. And as one of the violent cat people on the team, I was like, no, it's got to be other animals. But I lost my no birds argument. I don't like birds, so I was saying we should have pets but no birds. But I didn't win that fight.
Nah, cool. Yeah, good answer, by the way.
Yeah, this is great.
I love it when you're just having a meeting or a conversation with someone and the cat raids the meeting, and it just completely distracts everything. It's always amazing.
Yeah.
I love animals.
Yeah, real bugger.
All right, I've got one more question about timers, and then we'll be moving on to the game section. This one's more focused on the clan capital attacks. So, builder base and clan capital attacks in the past have always had no training. So, I guess my question is, why are the attacks why is the attack frequency limited there? Like, what's different about that?
Well, we definitely are worried about bots spamming attacks, right? And so, yeah, I don't know. This is actually kind of a one that we're open to hearing the feedback from the community and maybe going back and forth on. One, we definitely, absolutely have to have this, your troops are still in battle for main village attacks. Because the idea of people spamming attacks nonstop every 10 seconds or whatever all day is just asking for bots to exploit the system, or but we don't want to make life any easier for these bot accounts. Builder base is kind of similar. Like, of course, there is some limit on it, but in general, it's probably not good if people are just spamming all their stuff and then quitting. I think I'm more sympathetic to the clan capital ones because those are limited attacks. So like anything unlimited, builder base, main village attack, probably needs to have this spam protection on it because otherwise it becomes a bit of an economy exploit. But I think it's fair that clan capital, given there's only 5 of them, that maybe we could let you just disconnect and go through them a little faster. But like, it keeps coming back to player experience. Like, is this the player experience you want in your game? Is this the best thing for players to learn how to do? Like, if you are teaching your buddy how to play the game, is it good that you're telling him the best way to play the game is just like dump all the troops and force quit the game and then go back and do that again? So we want to make the ideal way to play the game to actually focus on your battles and like try to win your battles, try to 3-star, try to do as good as you can. And because you can jump right back into a battle right after, just do that. Have high quality attacks as opposed to like spammy, hacky, body feeling play styles.
Yeah, good answer. It would be pretty funny if you were introducing your friend to the game and it's like the best way to get through these attacks is to turn your phone off, wouldn't it? It feels a bit backwards.
Yeah, and again, like, I mean, just take this to any other game, right? Like, if I could somehow load into a Fortnite battle, force quit, and then a bot takes over, and the bot earns like some trophies or whatever, and the best way to play Fortnite was to start a game, drop, quit, jump in, battle bus, drop, quit, do it again. Like, that's insane. Like, Fortnite would never want. You know what I mean? Like, just you want people to actually play the game that you're spending all this time making troops and strategies and balancing for.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thanks for that. Let's move on to the game section. I'll start off with the first question and then can ask the second one. The first question is there anything that you can share about future plans with regards to game design? So it's a pretty broad question. Any intel?
All right. I'm sorry, repeat it again. These big questions are always...
Yes. Is there anything that you can share about future plans in regards to the game design of Clash of Clans?
Yeah. So one thing that's coming in the next update. So right now, or when we turn on Clash Anytime, you're going to have armies and army recipes. There's just the 2 tabs. What we're going to do in the next update is put a 3rd tab, and the 3rd tab is going to have suggested armies for you. So these are army recipes that we've built for every town hall 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever, like all the town halls will have some suggested armies. So that way, again, for people in this Discord chat are super hardcore. Like, you guys are watching YouTubers. You guys are probably like the most knowledgeable player within your friend group at school or work or whatever, right? Like, if you're in this Discord chat, you're probably a very engaged player. But for a lot of players, they literally they just pick one army. They do Hog Riders at Town Hall 6 or whatever, and then they never change. And like, changing is a scary thing because as we mentioned earlier, you have to train and then do some battles, wait for them to come up in the queue, do the attack, not really sure if you did well. You only get to do 2 attacks and then you can't do any more. And it's just hard. So what we want to do is give players an easy way to say, I want to switch armies and I want to, learn something new. And so we will have this list of hey, here are some suggested armies you could try out, copy them over, give them a trial. So that's a way that we can take this 0 training time thing and expand it further. How do we make the game even more educational for people, make it even better? So that's something that I'm working on. That's the only reason I can reveal it is because I'm the one working on that one, so I'm allowed to spoil it. Sorry, Fairy. Fairy had a little bit of a little groan face when I started talking, but not everything can be saved for the videos.
Can't believe you did it.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm sure they won't tell anyone else.
No, definitely. The Reddit's already shut down.
Keep it a secret, everyone.
No screenshots. Look how what's funny is we actually did a really good job keeping the Clash Anytime UI hidden for a long time because of course we've been playing it internally for months now, and we did the whole blog post, but there's no screenshots of it because we were still kind of polishing it and working on it. And it's just funny that today the UI came out and everyone's like, oh, it looks good. So yeah, there's a lot more we want to do with the UI now that we've got the basic stuff in.
Yeah, great. It's a great change because let me just tell you from my perspective, I spammed E-Drags for a very long time to the point where my clan was concerned for me because I wasn't the best attacker. And I only just switched recently to Root Rider spam, and now I'm doing Dragon spam. I'm a very skilled attacker, as you can tell. So I guess one thing I want to ask.
This game.
We're in it together, right? But one question I want to ask you about that UI is you're going to teach people how to use these armies, but are you also going to maybe indicate the level of skill that you would need for it? So, for example, like these spam attacks would be pretty easy, compared to something like using a fireball warden strategy, right? So, is there going to be any indicator for people?
Yeah, we've talked about it. The thing that we were unsure how to symbolize it to players. So we initially thought about we'd have like an easy, medium, and hard flag, so you could just kind of see like, okay, what's like the beginner, medium, expert armies. But then we talked about showing that as 1, 2, 3 stars because you got the 3-star motif in Clash of Clans. But then we thought that was a bad idea because then it looks like this is a 1-star army versus a 2-star army versus a 3-star army. And it's like, oh, I'd always pick the 3-star army, and it's like, no, sorry, that's not meant to be complexity. So I think it will definitely show people which armies are more complicated than others, but like the whole point of these suggested armies is that they're pretty simple. Is that they're all of them across the board would be like pretty easy to pick up on, because we still want you to be able to go to your creators to find the most complicated, the most interesting and epic armies.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Thank you for that. Kart, I'll let you ask the next question. I think this one's yours, right?
Yep. But before that, here's a question for Ferry and Marco. So, how do you fit into like the big picture when of this game design stuff comes in? I'm not sure if Ferry heard that.
Ferry, you're
Very, can
muted.
you hear us?
Wait, what happened?
There's a
Sorry.
question for
Ferry,
you. Ferry.
this question was for you. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. I was
Quit
replying to
posting. Quit crap posting in chat.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yes. So the question is, how do you fit into the big picture for these updates as CMs when of this game design stuff comes in?
I think several different ways. One, we have to make sure the best way to communicate these changes. That was something that was very important for us. That's why we made the blog post first before it went live. So we want everyone to have time to understand what's going to change, and also a good opportunity for us to start getting some feedback from the get-go. Second thing as well is working with creators, all of you, of course, on getting feedback beforehand. So that's where we also come in and make sure that we're helping with that process, so we can, again, test as much as possible and get feedback early on before deploying anything. And then finally, I think is also super important. It's once we deploy those things, the follow up, right? So how are players going to react? What's the community going to say? Is it going well? Is it not? What are the main pain points, the struggles? What are the wins? So all of that also make sure that we need to bring that back to the team so they can be aware of what's happening, be aware of that feedback, and then act upon them, depending on what it is, of course, and all that. But yeah, it's very, very collaborative process. So Seth, the entire team, they made it very easy for us to understand what was going to happen and understand if it's something how players will react, like try to think about possible problems and like mitigate those issues. So I think the whole thing was very smooth for us, and we played, I think, a good part in trying to make this the best way possible to when communicating and releasing to players, of course.
Okay, thank you. And going back to Seth for the next question, do you take inspiration from anywhere when thinking about game design? Like, who do you talk to? What do you look at? How does the ideation process happen?
I mean, is for me personally or for the Clash of Clans team? I guess. So for me personally,
Both. Yeah.
Yeah. We talk. Okay, so for me personally, I'm a huge Magic the Gathering player. I have been for decades. And the lead designer of Magic, this guy named Mark Rosewater, he posts like a blog maybe once or twice a week about game design. And I've read that thing forever. And honestly, like, I'm not even kidding you. Like, if you read 100 Mark Rosewater columns, you probably learn as much about game design as you do taking like a 4-year academic, university course or whatever. Like, Magic is such a really inspirational game because it's been around for like I think 35 years. Like next year, it's like its anniversary's coming up. But any game that has had to put out updates every 3 months or 2 months for 30 years knows a lot about customers and what they're looking for and mistakes to make, things to avoid, all that kind of stuff. So I've always been really inspired by games like that: Magic, World of Warcraft, League of Legends, like anything that's really been around for 10 years or more and had to reinvent itself multiple times while live. Very cool. For the Clash of Clans team in general, we are built into what's called subcells. So the Clash of Clans game team is, I think we're like over 60 people now, which is pretty big for a Supercell game. Supercell games used to be like 20, 25 people. We're like over 60 now. But that 60 people is broken up into these subcells, and the subcells have a very specific focus, like gameplay or events, or in our case, player journey, which is like progression features and things like that. So yeah, what happens is we have a goal of the Clash of Clans team of what we're trying to do. Obviously, increase the game, get more players, everything's happy, right? But then each of those subcells has their own path towards that goal. So we get together as a subcell, which is engineers, artists, marketing, like, like a mixture of different roles, game designers, whatever, and say like, what do we want to do for the next, usually year? We plan about a year in advance. And we said, we're going to do this, then this, then this, then this. And then at each update, you do the thing, you reevaluate any new ideas, shuffle around, and like you're kind of constantly always having about 1 year ahead of you in plans. And yeah, for me at least, like I try to write game design docs 3 to 6 months ahead. So like I'm working, like I quit doing Clash Anytime stuff like 2 months ago because it was at that point it was just being built and edited and whatever. So then I've been working on the design docs for the stuff that comes out in the next update and some of the design docs for the stuff that comes out in the update after that. So that's kind of how we work as a, like we're already planning Town Hall 18 because you gotta, right? Like we know it's coming. So you got to plan out like what's in it, what's the troops, what's the upgrades, defenses, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Town Hall 18 reveal.
Coming
Just
at some point.
Yeah, some point. Actually, I wanted to ask you a follow-up question on that. I've noticed just a little bit here and there that some of the game, like some of Clash of Clans, it looks like some of the gameplay is coming from or being inspired by other Supercell games. So I'll give you a couple of examples, right? Like the new chess system, that feels like Star Power and Brawl Stars, or at least very similar. And another thing would be, I guess you could say, the those magic items in Clash Royale. They feel like the magic items in Clash of Clans. I'm wondering, is that deliberate? Is there sort of like, are you looking at other Supercell games and seeing what's working and trying to adapt that into other games that you could do that in?
Yeah, I mean, there's only one game, like there's one building in Supercell and there's only one cafeteria. So all the game teams kind of go to the same place. We see each other, we talk a lot, and obviously a lot of us are friends because I've worked on 4 or 5 different Supercell teams, so I know people from all over the company. So it's really natural just to like meet the other game designers or people from other teams. Like, hey, that Brawl update was great. Like, how did it go with the PowerPoints league or whatever, right? Like you just ask them about the most recent features and it gets you talking, and then you come back to your subcell or your game team and say, hey, I think this is something we could really look into. Obviously Clash of Clans has never been like a gotcha game. We're not, and we don't want to present ourselves like a game where everything comes out of chests. Like something that's really nice about Clash of Clans is that all the gemming and stuff, it's kind of deterministic. Like when I spend this amount of gems, I know I get this magic item or this timer sped up or whatever. It's not random. So we don't want to put like too many chests in the game, but like with the last treasure hunt event, it was fun. I had a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys had a good one as well, but I got a book of everything. It was a good time. And so like, I think having a little bit of those treasure chests and a little bit of that random stuff is really fun. And a lot of that does come, from the other games. Of course, you see this with the gameplay. Like Clash Royale, Clash of Clans, or whatever, Clash Mania are constantly borrowing like troops and things like that and heroes from each other and implementing it. And a lot of it's just because they're using, kind of classic, funny game mechanics. Like when I was on Clash Royale, we did the fisherman, and like the fisherman hooking someone. Well, that's used in like a lot of MOBA games. It's like not a super unique mechanic, but we're like, okay, well, how do we bring that into Clash Royale? And once we did, and it worked really well, then I think Clash Mini Team did the same thing. Like we want someone who pulls. Well, what in the Clash universe pulls? The fisherman. So we got to bring the fisherman over. And so yeah, there's a little bit of that overlap. But yeah, I would say like definitely intentional. It's funny because I think Supercell's really good at copying the successes of other teams, but we also sometimes make the mistakes of other teams as well. So we're not perfect either. A lot of times, like we'll make a mistake, and then someone from another game team will be like, "Oh yeah, we tried that like 18 months ago, and it didn't work for us either." And we're like, "Oh, why didn't we know that?" And it's just because, of course, you share successes a lot more than you share failures. So like the successes are pretty easy to copy over, and then we all have to learn the failures ourselves.
Yeah, cool. I do have one more follow-up question, but we'll move on after that because we are getting kind of short on time.
Sure.
I just wanted to clarify about that thing where you're saying you don't want to be a gacha game. So I'm interpreting that as there's no intention to buy chests with gems, because then you would be spending real life money to pay for gems, which would then inadvertently result in a random reward from the chests, right? So is the intention that you're going to keep the chest strictly through gameplay only?
Yeah, I mean, I will say right now there's no plans to sell chests ever. It's like not on the roadmap, no plans, whatever. I think overall, like if I was making a brand new game from scratch, maybe this would be different. But Clash of Clans has been around for 13 years and it's not been a gotcha. Like there's not been like a treasure chest game this whole time. And again, some games are going to do this and it's great for them. But one of the things that's nice about Clash of Clans is that it's a game that does not monetize that way. And so we think that the existing players of Clash of Clans like the way that it's deterministic, that you know what you're getting every time you buy something. And so I don't think we really want to break that trust with players. We talk a lot about what we want our strategy to be, and we say a lot like transparent, fair, people can see what they're getting and know what they're getting. And I think, treasure chests are just a bit that it's friction there to have both those things be true if we're selling them. So yeah, like at least right now, gameplay only. And if we change our mind 4 years down the road, you can pull this Discord video up and yell at me.
All good. All right, cool. Let's move on now. My question is, can the game design be improved a lot more in your opinion? And if so, why? And if so, why not? Or if not, why not? Sorry. Yeah, you get the point.
So yeah, like I mean, just being totally honest, I was on the creator program. My work on that team was done, and I was looking for a new team to join. And I had the choice of teams, and I wanted to join Clash of Clans. And the reason I wanted to join Clash of Clans is I just feel like top to bottom, there's so many good ways to improve this game. I can easily see a future where we are significantly bigger. Like we're already the biggest build and battle game in the world, and I think we could double in size. Genuinely, like way more players, way more events, way more content. Like it's a really, really good core game that just has a lot of like friction around the edges. So the training time being a perfect example of one. Like again, to stream the game, you need like 30 accounts. That's insane, right? It's just not intuitive for most people. If you haven't made a new account recently, go try and make a new account and play through the Fatui and play through like the tutorials and stuff and tell me if this feels like a brand new game to you. So I think there's like a lot of improvement we can do in the tutorials to make the game better for new players. Oh my God, there's so many things we could do around clans. Like clans are super important to people. It's like one of the most important things you could do. And yet we never really tell new players, hey, you should join a clan and here's all the benefits for it. Even when you're in a clan, it's hard to get into clan wars sometimes. If it's 50 people in the clan and it's very competitive, getting into that top 15 is tough. So like there's so many things we can improve around the clan experience, the progression, the speed of upgrades, the gameplay itself. Like and again, the team is bigger than ever. So we, the Clash of Clans team, have the ability to deliver on a lot of this stuff in every update. We should be hitting multiple big beats in every update because we're 3 times the size that we used to be. But yeah, I think there's a lot that we can improve, and I'm really excited because I think by, let's see, we have the 13th anniversary coming up this year. By the 15th anniversary, this game is going to be top to bottom different and just better in every way. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. This is literally my first update on the team. So like we're going to do a lot of cool stuff over the next few years.
Okay, so that's a lot of interesting information. Now, my follow-up to that is specifically about game design. What does the future for builder base look like? Would the team consider maybe a 3.0 or what? What are your plans for it?
There are so many amendments, but I'm gonna plead the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th. Yeah, I'm not gonna. That's like a 20. That joke probably makes me sound ancient because that's like a 20-year-old joke. But no. We have discussed builder base. There's plans for builder base stuff to do, but yeah, I don't want to talk about it right now because it's still very much in the mix. What it is and when it comes has not been decided, so there's nothing more to talk about. But yes, we are aware of builder base. We talk about it. And yeah, I see Ashjar in chat. Ashjar sent me some pretty cool ideas around builder base too. So I mean, it's not just like us talking about it. The creators and people who are big fans of builder base are obviously talking about it with us all the time too.
Okay, thank you. Eve, are you gonna take the next question?
Yeah, actually, I just want to clarify. How much time have you got left? Will you have to go in about 10 minutes, or have you got a bit longer than that?
I'm getting
But
on an
what
airplane
time?
tomorrow. I got nothing until then. I'm sitting here until I leave for the airport tomorrow. So, you got me a little bit longer.
Yeah,
I can't
sweet.
stay like so long, but I could do another, 20, 30 minutes, whatever.
Awesome. Okay, in that case, Carp, you can ask your last question here, and then we can move on to audience questions.
Okay, cool. So this is again for Ferry and Marco. Could you walk us through the production for the recent rap video? I heard it was done within a week or two.
Yeah, great question. So, of course, first, yeah, MC Sneeze in the house. So first we had to prepare the track for the video because we had to produce the track from scratch. So we started with the lyric process where of course we wanted to include on the lyrics everything that was coming for the March update, and have a proper rhyme scheme, and make sure that the lyrics had the right information and matched the right tempo of the instrumental that we were going to use. So that was the lyric process. Then it was the instrumental process. We had to find out which genre we wanted to hit, and we just agreed that a funny, energetic rap type of music would do the trick. And then we found like a similar instrumental for that track, and then we worked with a musical composer that helped us, like produce the track. After that, we did record some audio for the track, where we went to a studio. We had this big big microphone, in an isolated booth, and we recorded the track there. Do you want to continue the rest?
No, I think that's pretty much it. It was very fun, very chaotic to make it happen because we didn't have a lot of time. But the shooting process was super fun, turning Marco into a bat. I think that was the best part, having him spin upside down. And Vlad
Clearly.
singing the chorus, which is super catchy, or we clash on. So we hope you all enjoy it. It was something different we wanted to try. So yeah, thank you for the question, by the way.
Yeah, originally we didn't intend on including the sneezy body like below my head. The reason why we actually decided to include the body was because, like, when we went to record the video, I was wearing the sneezy ears, but without the body, people were saying that it looked like a rabbit ears, and I did not want people to think I was a rabbit and not a bat. So we just asked. Yeah, exactly, Cart. Yes.
I love that image so much.
So we decided to include the body, which gave me these super fluffy and cute legs that everyone loves.
Yeah. And Marco and the bat are the same size, so it was
What do you
perfect.
I'm not that
Yeah.
small, dude. I mean, I am small, but not that small. I'd like to have wings though, but
Cool. Yeah, I love the costume, by the way. I hope you put it on like a display to remember for the rest of time. It's an icon. All right,
thank
I
you
actually
so
was
much.
lying.
I'm
Oh,
having
sorry.
fun with the memes and the stickers.
Even the server
Ferry's
banners are
having
meme.
Ferry's having more fun than I though, but yeah, I'm also having fun.
Yeah, great. Yeah, even the server banners are meme. You've definitely you made a name for yourself. Maybe you should be a rapper. Maybe that's the new
Maybe,
career.
maybe.
Um, I was lying, by the way. There's actually one more question before we get to the audience questions, so you'll have to bear with me for a little longer. So the last question for real this time is: what advice do you have for players today that are looking to be game designers? Oh, and community managers, either one.
Community managers go first.
You want to go?
Community manager, I guess. One, you have to be passionate about talking and engaging with players and people on social media and everything. It's a very social job at the end of the day. You have to be passionate about the product you're working with, and you have to be ready as well for taking some hits. It's not all fun and games. It's hard to navigate through the feedback and sometimes the negativity that you see all the time. But again, it's all worth it because again, it's super rewarding to work with players and community and see players excited and happy or having a laugh about something we did or enjoying the game because something we deployed, like a new feature or something, and you update. So I think that if your community manager is all about like just wanting to make the best for the player, the best for the community. What can we do to make players happy? What can we do to improve their lives, their experience with us, with the game? So I think that's the number one thing. And also just know you gotta love reading comments and gathering feedback and trying to navigate through that sea of comments to find like all the valuable feedback we get and things like that. They're really going to help us improve the game. And Mark.
Yeah.
Nothing to add.
Oh, go ahead, Marco.
No, nothing to add. Ferry, I agree, fully agree with Ferry.
Yeah, for game design, I would say like a really practical thing you could do is play board games. Honestly, like I think so. One of the things I think is that a lot of modern, especially like really high level games, they're so smooth and so like well done that it's kind of hard to analyze them. Like you can't really analyze a shooter game in the middle of playing the shooter game. It's like the action is too much. You can't really stop and focus. What I really like about board games is that because it's turn-based, because it's slow, you can really pick apart the game mechanics. You can question like why things happen the way they do, or you can really feel the difference between like a slow, grindy game versus a really fast race style game. Board games have had like a really big golden age renaissance in the last like 10 or 15 years. So I think you also get a wide range of mechanics and systems that you can learn, from deck building to worker placement, all this different stuff. And a lot of like big mobile games actually have been evolved from board games, like Marvel Snap game that I love, really cool card game out there. That's based on a board game called Smash Up that was released in like 2009. So like if you had been playing Smash Up for years, you could have, I mean, any of us could have made Marvel Snap if we are just genius enough to kind of connect this really good board game to this possibility as a mobile digital competitive game, whatever. Yeah, but like I mentioned earlier, read a lot of design blog stuff. Like I don't think you can really learn how to be a good game designer from playing games, or rather from just playing games. Like, I'm sorry, I know I'm rambling a little bit, but I used to be a competitive gamer. So I used to be kind of like a high level, like playing games for money player. And what I learned is that there were like years where I just played games, didn't really analyze, played for like 5 years. And then I would spend 1 year working with like experts to learn a game better. And in 1 year, I learned more than like the 5 years of playing myself. So I think design is a lot like that, where it's not about playing the games, it's about thinking about them intentionally, like as you're playing them. And I think board games really lend themselves well to that. And also blog posts and strategy guides help, because that gives you a chance to like read and digest and think about a game when you're not in the like second to second gameplay.
Great. Awesome answer. Let's move on to audience questions now, shall we? We've got, I think, 5 here. So I'll start with Optimus Prime's question. So he asked, will the Raid Weekend Metal Shop be updated to include more items in the future? In particular, he was thinking of the Book of Building and the Book of Heroes and more spells, but I'll just make this a bit broader. Is there any sort of change or addition to the shop that you can see in the future?
Yeah, I mean, of course, we're always discussing adding more stuff. The one that I would like to see is the pet potion. That's a different subcell, so I don't actually know if there's any like major changes coming soon or whatever. But yeah, like we're always talking about rewards and better ways for players to get stuff. Ores are usually the most common discussion because we know that players want ores the most, so that's like where a lot of the focus is. But yeah, I don't see any reason why we couldn't add more things to the Raid Metal Shop in the future, but no promises on when that would happen.
Cool. No promises up, but hopefully more in the future. Sweet. Charlie 2.0 asks if there's a reason why clans are unable to disable the family-friendly mode once it's been enabled in the clan. So at the moment, he's facing a situation where the only way to be able to turn this feature off is basically make a new clan, which is frustrating for him. So is there a reason behind that?
Yeah, there is a reason. This is related to trust and safety. So the team that handles trust and safety recommended having that only the possibility of not changing that configuration of a clan due to safety measures. They were concerned about not being able to control what happens when players are able to configure that type of settings in the clan. We were checking with the team how feasible it is and how realistic it is to change that setting, but we don't have anything concrete at the moment, but we started talking with the team to try and address this.
Awesome, thanks. Kurt, you want to ask the next one?
Yep. So this next question is from Einfish. I hope I pronounced that right. But how do you plan to address the discrepancy in clan capital progression across different clans? Most active clans have been maxed for a while most clans are inconsistent and won't max for a long time. Do we have to wait until these inactive clans progress further before a Capital Hall 11 is released?
Who takes this one? Seth, do you feel brave to take this one?
I mean, I can just be honest with you. Like, our focus for the year is on main village. Like, we've talked in the past about we've tried in the past to equally balance like builder-based clan capital and main village. And one of the things we realized is that we just weren't really doing a great job at all three of them. And players overwhelmingly wanted main village stuff the most. So like this year, we're focusing on main village. I like clan capital. Like, I think there's a lot to do there. I think you will see when we do things to builder base and clan capital, I think what you'll see is a tighter connection to the home village. I think that's maybe the issue with a lot of these things, is that they don't really tie back into the home village as directly as we'd like. So that's what we need to solve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a good
Okay,
question,
cool.
by the way. Einfish, good question. Next question's from Drac, I should say it's two questions. So I'm going to break this up. The first question is, are there any plans for clan family tool management? So his idea specifically is there anything where you can reassign clan roles when they're moving between different family clans? Is there anything like that coming?
I would say no, right?
Yeah,
There is a thing, again, not my subcell, but there is a thing on the roadmap that's like clan, like improving the clan experience. I think those sort of tools are really good. Honestly, one of the best things you can do is make a Reddit post or some other like post about it, because what we do is we find those links and we save them into like a big list of feedback. So it's
Community
great to bring
request.
this question. I'm sure Marco and Ferry can write this down and we can like pass it on. But honestly, like a well-written tweet or Reddit post or whatever, actually, like, we do see them, we do save them, and we refer back to them later.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. He also made another, he asked another question, sort of similar, but it's more focused around base design. So he's also wondering if there's going to be any improvements towards base design tools. So if so, can you share what you're planning? And his examples being, for example, you can select a group of defenses targeting ranges. So for example, air defenses, ground defenses that only target one thing or target AoE. Is there anything to
Like more
enhance this?
customizable defenses and things like that?
Exactly, yeah. Because this will encourage the base designing community rather than people just, copying a base link and just taking something that already works, right? It actually promotes the creative side of base design.
There will be some very cool things in that department. No further comment. But yeah, definitely. I mean, here the little thing that we did already was the wall wizard. And I know that's not exactly what you're talking about, but like in terms of tools that managing your base easier, wall wizard, villagers are things that kind of make the upgrading process a little smoother. In terms of like more customizable defenses, hang tight.
Hang tight, okay. A bit of a spoiler. No details though.
I didn't say nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't say nothing.
Getting spicy, nice. All right, Kat, take it away with the last one then.
Yeah, so this is the last question. This is actually from two people, Cool Drake and Aika. So since the snapshot was taken when a shield is given, does that mean they all have a little lower loot?
Yeah, I to be honest, off the top of my head, I'm not sure if it's the loot it had before the attack is snapshotted or if it's the loot that it has left over after the attack that's snapshotted, but it's one of those two. When you get attacked, you don't lose 100% of the loot in your base, right? I think like the maximum amount of loot you can lose is like 20% of what you stored. So if somebody had like 1 million gold before the attack, and then they get attacked, they lose 200,000 gold or whatever, and then that's the snapshot. It still has what 800,000 gold in it, so there's still a pretty decent amount to loot afterwards. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think that brings us to the end of our questions and the podcast for today. Thank you for joining us, Seth. We'd love to have you again sometime in the future, and to Ferry and Marco too, obviously.
All three of us will be happy to be back sometime. Oh yeah, look at him. We're gonna do a little heart load. I can see. I don't know. Yeah, no, these are always a lot of fun. We love talking with the community and being able to answer your questions. You know, we know how it feels to love a game a lot and not know the insides of it. Like you want to know what's happening, what's coming up, what changes are you making, and we definitely take it very seriously that every time we update the game, we are taking your favorite toy, changing it, and then giving it back to you and hoping that you like it. So we're trying to be very, careful with these changes. Things like Clash Anytime is going to go live tomorrow. Let us know what you think. I think there's been some really good feedback in this chat already around wall upgrades, around the trophy curves, around the donation costs. Like, don't feel scared or ashamed or whatever to push back on what you see. Let us know. We hear it. We're going to work on it. And we're hoping that once we get a good idea of how much people are attacking, like what is with Clash Anytime, how much are people actually engaging, then we can go back and adjust donation costs, trophy curves, all that stuff to fit the amount. But just right now, we're being very conservative and very safe because we don't know. We hope you attack a bunch, but let's see what happens. So yeah, it's going to go live tomorrow morning. Remember, we're in Helsinki, so the time zone might be different from other people. But yeah, really looking forward to it.
Okay, thank you.
I know you can't see my camera, but I'm sending a heart hand emoji back at you guys. You've been awesome, and I would say this is actually one of the best podcasts we've done. A lot of new and exciting info has been shared, and we really appreciate your time. So yeah, hope we can do more of these in the future.
Anytime. Thank you for having us again. It was a pleasure as always. I love to interact with the chat, and Seth was really, really cool explaining this whole training time thing and some sneak peeks and teasers about things that are to come. So it was really nice. So thank you.
Two more real quick things. One, we got a really cool season coming on April 1st. The next season's going to be a lot of fun, so stay tuned because a lot of the stuff that was in this update hasn't been revealed yet. So stay tuned for a really cool April season. And thank you to everyone who submitted temp troop ideas through the Make campaign. We did a campaign at make.supercell.com where people could suggest troops. And I'm not kidding, like we went through a bunch of these ideas and we really liked some of the gameplay, some of the ideas that were submitted. So like whenever we do campaigns like that, definitely share your ideas because you never know what could end up in the game. Like 100% one of those Make Supercell suggestions will end up as a troop in the game in the next few years for sure, easily. Like there were so many that we liked. So yeah, like thanks for engaging with community stuff like this and looking forward to the next time.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
That's something to look forward to.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks
everyone.
for tuning in, everyone, and it was a pleasure to have you guys. Take it easy.
Always a pleasure.
Bye.
Until next
Thank you.
time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.